Greetings, Wandering Beekeeper here. We are looking at the Psi Mod for Minecraft in a 1.16.5 world. Specifically, we are looking at a spell inscriber and a rod constructor. These are two bits of furniture that you have to build before you can even really get going on the mod. The one is where you make your magic wand, and the other is where you create the spells that you will cast with that wand. Let's actually take a look at the book here, because this is a workthrough, not an overview. So, we have Spell Slinging 101. And we're working through the basics, through the tutorials. I've already worked through 4. I'm going to go back through some of them in order to get you caught up and do a quick recap. So, you start off building the rod constructor. Rod constructor is easy enough to build. It's gold, wood, and a piston. Throw it on a crafting table, and bada bang, you have your rod constructor. There, you build an iron rod frame, which wood, some iron, not a problem. That gives you the chassis for your basic rod. Once you've done that, you drop those items, you drop the frame into here. It makes a very basic focusing rod, at which point you can make sawdust out of redstone. Now my sawdust is currently in the Magician's Workbench, which of course, you would expect. There's my sawdust, the usual purpley dust. Use it to make a lot of other things. That's your foundation element, like Vidium is for mana and artifice, or various others that have their special substance. Okay, so yeah, you literally drop some redstone, point and zap, and it changes while hovering above the ground. It's that simple. Once you've got that done, then you can go on to writing spells. The spell inscriber takes an empty map and a sawdust and some wood, gold. I mean, it's pretty basic. It just takes the one special item. And then it tells us about how to go on, because we need to make a crux. The humble rod crux takes sawdust, redstone, and iron, and makes the crux there. And then you need the rod notch, which is the carrier for your spells. This carries this is the memory slots, and you will plug memory cards in that carry your spells. This is the analogy works really easily. You're building a mobile device. You need an operating core. You need memory slots, memory card slots. Now there's a thing here. You can recycle your rod. You put it on a regular crafting table, and you can take it back to its component pieces. Take it apart. Really easy. I like that. Being able to break down an early item and reuse the parts for more advanced items, that's a really nice touch in a mod. You don't normally see that. You're normally stuck with a bunch of first level stuff that you don't need anymore. Can't do anything with. So to write a spell, Excuse me. Write a spell, we go to the Spell Inscriber, where we get the programming grid. This is where you're actually going to write your spells. And you're going to code them. How do we code a spell? Well, let's walk through it. This has got the debug spell. Now it goes through talking about building a trick and what parameters are and selectors and so forth. Essentially, if you've done any coding, it's going to be kind of obvious how this works. Now, I already have a spell here. And I have to wonder. Oops, wrong. There it is. This wand has 6 slots available. Only one of them has a spell in it. Oops. I cast the spell. What I'm hoping to do, what I really wanted to do was to reload the spell into the table, which you can't apparently do. So, we're going to do some basic, we're going to catch up to tutorial 4, and we're going to redo forward Ned. So we're going to use a precompiled trick. Essentially, we're going to add a pre-constructed method to our object class. We're going to start by creating an object by adding this trick. So, quick search, trick add motion. This is a method. It needs operating parameters. You know, we've instantiated a sort of object method here. We got to provide it some parameters. The red exclamation point tells us that it's missing stuff, and the X up here says has not compiled. It needs a target. Well, for a target, we're going to make it the selector caster. This is going to be a self. And we're going to go target, and we're going to click that arrow from here so that the trick now pulls its target from the caster. Okay? We need a vector. So, to get our operational vector, operator entity look. What am I? We're going to selector caster. We're going to cast it on ourselves. We're going to aim it where I'm currently looking. We'll set the direction. We'll set our vector to point to the operator entity look. Now that entity look doesn't know what entity it's pulling from yet. It has to get a value from selector caster. So we're going to add a connector. Just like that. The connector pulls from selector caster. Entity look can now pull from the connector, linking it to selector caster. So it's, where is the caster looking? Now we need to know the speed. How many blocks are we going to throw ourselves forward? To do that, we just need a constant. We're going to set it to 5 blocks. Go. I'm going to rename it if we can. Want to. Why isn't it? Oh, it's not. We can't because it's not compiling. We haven't referenced our speed constant. You must reference a constant in order for it to be used. Basic programming. There we go. Now it compiles. We get some stats. It has 3 out of a possible 24 actions. Potency is 0. We haven't even touched potency. Cost 1. Projection, number of tricks 1. We can use up to 3 tricks, up to 3 of these pre-compiled methods at our current level. And bandwidth. We won't worry about bandwidth right now. Call this one forward more. Now we have to get this thing loaded into the wand. Oh, hey, look, a printout. It's showing us that, hey, yeah, you have this particular spell on the grid right now. Kind of neat, isn't it? Now, there really ought to be a way to pull that printout off. Stash it for later to be able to go back and to call it up later and re-edit. Haven't found that yet. It may be in here somewhere. We need a spell module. We need a memory card to load that on to be able to put it into the wand and be able to cast it. So, let's go over here. Now, these things are called they're called spell nodes, and there are several types. There's the regular one, which is what we're going to use, a projectile one, so that you can fire your spell at something. And the code doesn't start running until it acquires a target by hitting something. Loopcast runs at multiple cycles. So, grenade. It launches your spell object as an object, and it goes off when it hits. So on and so forth. Mind spell. It allows you to make runes. This is where we might be able to replicate the Pogan rune. Yes, that is a thing. We need paper, wood, and sawdust. We have paper, wood, and sawdust. And now we have a spell node. We have effectively a memory card. Take the memory card and load the spell in it. That's simple. Go to our rod constructor, put our functional rod in. Over here, that opens up the notches. This opens up the card slots where we can drop in our new node, our new memory card with our new spell, our new program. We have forward ned, which moves us forward 3 blocks, and forward more, which moves us forward 5 blocks. Take the rod out of the constructor. It does not automatically leave. We'll get more into what goes over here later. Have our rod. We have, now it's currently selected forward ned. We're going to select it to forward more and go, and it failed. It's interesting. May have tried to move forward further than we're able to. If I recall correctly, yeah, there we go. We can launch forward 3. We can't launch forward 5 because we're not high level enough. It's too great of an effect. We've created a spell that we cannot get cast. But it got us caught up. We are now caught up and limits. Exactly, we were looking at those. So I'm going to close the video out here, and we'll come back and do tutorial 5 and maybe tutorial 6 next video. We've caught up, we've recapped, and we're ready to make some progress here. So thank you for joining me on the recap and the start of the workthrough of the Psi Mod. I'm the Wandering Beekeeper. Go well.